जी
एक सेकंड।
So,
Hi. जी, हैदर भाई, any
जी,
response,
you know,
question?
I had a question for Shyam Babu. I mean, India is a diverse nation, and by your definition, we are not still a nation. But here I am sitting in the United States of America, which is an increasingly diverse nation. It is since starting in 60s and 70s, such a huge influx of immigrants from all over the world, and that trend continues. And to the extent that maybe in a few years they say that white population will be in a minority, and there is no fear, and the laws of the land seem to promote the fraternity among the people, and and yet the fault lines in India seem to be much more visible because of the of whatever is happening over there than here in this country. Um, in 1965 there was integration of the counters in the cafes, and then in the first part of the 21st century we had a black president, and and I mean, yeah, in England, for example, an Indian person of Indian descent becomes the prime minister. So, are we not doing enough to promote the fraternity? Is my question, because the world is increasingly more diverse everywhere. So, how do you kind of reconcile this?
Thank you, sir, for that, and great question. Actually, when Dr. Ambedkar talked about this nationhood issue in 1949, he gave the example of the United States. United States Constitution does not say that United States is a nation. He also talks about a meeting of, I think, some religious group there, when they wanted to pass a resolution saying that God bless this nation. There was so much opposition saying that, no, we are not a nation. That's why American Constitution simply stipulates that the United States must become a more perfect union. Back to India, our problem is much more acute. There you have black and white issue now. Not so much blacks and whites, it's about whites and non-whites. It's a kind of a major divide there. But with all those divisions also, civil liberties to a large extent are given to everybody. I am aware of George Floyd and so many other abominations in the United States, but by and large, whether you are a visitor going there on B1, B2 visa, or you are a green card holder or a citizen, a modicum of rights is granted to you. But for us in India, I know when we talk about all these matters, people tend to think that everything changed after 2014, with the BJP coming to power. But from the very beginning, from 1950 onwards, minority communities, the so-called weaker sections, Dalits, tribals, Muslims, and Dalit Christians, don't have the same kind of rights the rest of the country has. And we are completely neglected because of the caste. If it is not my caste, why should I worry? If it is not my religion, why should I worry? So the same debate is taking place nowadays with regard to China. That is, what are these universal values of individual liberty and equality? These are all Western values we don't accept. So this argument suits all those autocratic rulers, but not people. If you go to a common literate Chinese person, he would say, what is this West and non-West issue? If I don't like my government, so I don't have the right to criticize. So the elite discourse about West and non-West and all these Western values we don't have to accept is a big trap. Indian academics also fell into that. If you see, there are literally thousands of Indian academics or academics who specialize on India, who are from India. Not even a fraction of them talk about what is happening in India. They don't even have the courage to even defend what is happening. Forget about criticizing. So we are in a very peculiar situation now. But compared to India, I would say probably you're a better person to agree or disagree on this. Probably United States has much more scope for a minority to assert his individual rights and his right to have dignity and equal rights.
So, I mean, instead of the concept of a single nation, I think, we should strive for United Nations. Actually, I got the point from what you said initially. This is not a nation. The US is not a nation. It's United Nations, or United States. I'm sorry, United States of America. So each state has its own constitution, its own, autonomy. And similarly, I believe the same model should be maybe more practical to achieve or to move toward greater fraternity within India too.
Yeah, this is the point Dr. Ambedkar makes. From the Scheduled Caste Federation, which he was heading at the time, he presents a memorandum to the Constituent Assembly where he proposes that India should be known as United States of India, USI. So the idea that we are a nation and we automatically assume that we have the fraternity, it was unacceptable to Dr. Ambedkar. They said that no. The trouble is, sorry, as you mentioned, at least in the United States, you have these large states, the 50 states plus DC, each one having its own constitution. You have literally 600,000 villages. Each one is a republic, the so-called village republics. It's not that we have 30 odd states, each one is a kind of independent state. We are so finely sliced ourselves into irrelevance. We can't come together for national security. We can't come together for national prosperity. Darren Acemoglu, a professor at MIT, a couple of years back, he published a book on society-state dichotomy. How if a society is too strong, it will lead to anarchy. If the state becomes too strong, it will produce autocracy. So to balance these two, you need to have find a narrow corridor where individual freedoms and rule of law thrive. And he has a whole chapter on India. He literally reproduced Dr. Ambedkar's viewpoint on caste and how it is an impediment to national unity and prosperity.
Do you think the Hindutva ideology can achieve its goal of, giving this sense of a single nation?
I mentioned in my presentation that, it's a pity Christianity failed in that, to bring about a kind of unity among Christians. Islam failed that. Now, Hinduism is trying that, and I'm unfortunately, as an Indian, I hope that it would succeed so that everybody would be happy. But no, religion alone cannot be the basis for nationhood. No other ethnic identity like ethnicity, language, or region, they can be a factor, but cannot be the sole factor. The sole factor is the people who reside in a particular geographic area, sharing a common past, and the desire to live together are the only basis for a nationhood. We have to strive for that. Unfortunately, whatever history I know, religion failed to bring people together. That's a sad fact. And if Hinduism is an exception, I don't know. But I have no hope on that.
Thank you.
No, he was. So thank you so much, Shyam Babu, Dr. Mistry. Thank you very much for your inputs. The schedule we follow is that we will have these discussions over the next few weeks, and then we're just waiting for some scheduling. After which we will do a physical conference to discuss the papers. By which time we will also have the book ready, and hopefully this will be a good documentation of all the modern challenges that we face beyond and after the citizenship issue. So thank you very much for having shared your time.
Thank you.
Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will quickly announce the date for the next.
Thank you, Amir.
Shyam Babu, thank you. Malika, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mistry. I really enjoyed your presentation. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Thank you, ma'am. Allah Hafiz.